Today, I want to talk to you about 5 things I hate about Blacksburg, Virginia. Now, before anyone gets upset, don't worry, I don't actually hate Blacksburg. In fact, it's home for me and my family, and I think it's one of the best places you could live. But just like any town, Blacksburg has its quirks. So these are things that at first might seem like negatives or even frustrations until you live here long enough to realize they're actually part of what makes this place so special. So let's dive into my 5 hate but secretly love things about living in Blacksburg. Now, in case you're new here, my name's Grant Irby, your trusted real estate resource right here in Blacksburg, Virginia and the New River Valley. And it's our goal with this YouTube channel that it's your #1 resource for all the things you need to know about relocating to and living in this area. And please, if you find this information helpful, please like the channel and subscribe. And as always, if you are thinking about making a move to the area, I would love to be the realtor that you choose to work with. So let's kick things off with #1. No major retailers in Blacksburg. Now, this is probably one of the first things people notice when they relocate here, especially if they're coming from bigger cities or even just larger towns. You'll hear folks ask, where's the Target? Where's the Walmart? And the answer is, not in Blacksburg. Now, we do have a few Krogers and Food Lion grocery stores, but Blacksburg has really been intentional about keeping those big box stores out of town. The local government here has made decisions over the years to protect that small town feel, to keep things walkable, and to avoid that anywhere USA look where every street corner has the exact same chain store that you would find anywhere else. So on the surface, that can feel frustrating. You might find yourself making that short 10-minute drive to Christiansburg for Target, or even on to Roanoke for stores like Sam's Club if you want wider variety of shopping. But honestly, that's part of the charm. Instead of just a sea of Red Lobsters and Walmarts, Blacksburg is filled with local businesses, unique restaurants, and shops that actually give the town personality. Now, it means when you go downtown, you're not just grabbing the same coffee you'd get in any city. You're probably stopping by a local spot where the owner might even know you by name. It's not solely about convenience here, it's about community. And that's something that you can't buy at Costco, no matter how many lemon meringue pie samples they may hand out. #2 on the list of things I hate about Blacksburg is the rush of students and traffic around move-in, move-out, and graduation weekends. If you've ever tried to drive through town during Virginia Tech's big weekends, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. Suddenly, the roads are jam-packed, parking is impossible, you'll see families hauling futons across the street, students wandering like flocks of distracted geese, and lines at restaurants that make you feel like you're waiting for a concert ticket. It's chaotic, and for locals, it can definitely be one of those I hate this moments. You just want to run errands, and suddenly you find yourself sitting in traffic behind a minivan full of nervous freshmen and their nervous parents. But here's the flip side. That rush of students and families is a reminder that Blacksburg has a heartbeat. Virginia Tech is the engine that drives so much of the culture, economy, and energy here. So without those students, Blacksburg just wouldn't be the same. Move-in weekend means new people bringing fresh energy to town, and graduation weekend is a beautiful reminder that people come here from all over the world. They fall in love with the New River Valley, and they take that Hokie spirit with them wherever they go. So yes, Virginia Tech traffic can be frustrating, but it's also a sign of life and heartbeat in Blacksburg. And honestly, there's something kind of fun about watching the town double in size overnight. It keeps Blacksburg from ever feeling like a sleepy town for too long. But sleepy Blacksburg in the summer when the students are gone and the football season is off in the distance, man, I love that. And you still have the amenities of Blacksburg with little to zero traffic. It's awesome. #3 on my list of things I hate about Blacksburg are that there are no other major cities super close by. So if you look at a map, Blacksburg is kind of tucked away in its own little corner of Southwest Virginia. You don't just hop in the car and quickly end up in Richmond or DC. And for some people, that can be a drawback. And it feels a little isolated. And at times, I have hated that. But here's the thing. Being far off from big cities is part of what makes Blacksburg feel like such a gem. See, we are surrounded by mountains and trails and rivers instead of traffic jams and endless suburbs. You don't hear sirens all night long or fight for space on crowded sidewalks. And it's not like we're cut off from civilization. Roanoke is just down the road. Christiansburg has plenty of retail shopping. And if you really need that big city fix, Charlotte and DC and Richmond are just a short road trip away. And what you get in exchange for that little bit of distance is a pace of life that feels calmer, healthier, and more connected. People in Blacksburg typically actually know their neighbors. You can drive 5 minutes out of town and be on a hiking trail with no one else in sight. And that kind of balance is hard to find in most parts of the country. So yeah, we're not a suburb or a big city, But I think that's exactly the point. Now, real quick before we move on, I put together a Welcome to Blacksburg in the New River Valley guide where I break down all sorts of things about the community, about the demographics, the industrial makeup, what makes each community unique, as well as over 35 attractions that you could see yourself doing when you live here. So if you want a copy of that, shoot me an email. I'll throw my email address on the screen and I'd be happy to send you a digital copy for free. Number 4 on my list of things I hate about Blacksburg is how the town shuts down when there's winter weather. Okay, if you've lived in Blacksburg for even one winter, you know this is true. It snows, or sometimes it doesn't even snow, it just threatens to snow, and suddenly schools are closed, businesses shut their doors, and the roads are eerily quiet. And for people moving here from up north, where 2 feet of snow barely delays trash pickup, this can be hilarious. You might think, really? For 2 inches of snow? But here's why it happens. Blacksburg is in the mountains. That means steep hills, winding back roads, and weather that can change in an instant. And a little bit of ice here is a whole lot different than a little bit of ice in a flat city. And honestly, once you embrace it, the snow day vibe is kind of wonderful. The town slows down, the kids are out sledding, the neighbors are helping each other shovel, and you get this cozy small town feeling that makes you just want to curl up and drink hot chocolate. So sure, it might be inconvenient if you had plans, but it's also a reminder that sometimes life gives you these little permissions to just pause. And who couldn't use a little more of that? Last on my list, number 5, the reputation at Blacksburg is just a college town. This is something I hear a lot, especially from people who've never actually lived here. They'll say, oh, Blacksburg? That's just a college town, or it's too small to actually live there long term. And on the surface, I get it. Virginia Tech is huge, and the university is what put Blacksburg on the map. When people think about this place, they picture football games and Hokie Stone buildings and thousands of students walking to class. They may reminisce about their college days and can't ever really imagine settling down here. But here's the thing, Blacksburg is so much more than just Virginia Tech. Yes, it's a college town, but it's also a thriving community where people from all ages live, work, and raise families. There are neighborhoods full of long-term residents, there are parks and greenways for outdoor living, and there are local businesses that don't close up just because school's not in session. And to be fair, that college town vibe that sometimes people look downly on, well, honestly, it's one of our biggest strengths. I mean, there's always energy here, there's innovation, there's diversity, and tech brings world-class research, jobs, and cultural opportunities that you don't typically find in a small town. So while some people may dismiss Blacksburg as being just for students, the reality is that it's a place where students, families, professionals, and retirees all blend together. And that mix is what makes that small town feel alive year-round. So Blacksburg may be relatively small, but it's the kind of small that feels intentional, not limiting. You don't stay here in spite of being a college town, you stay here because everything that comes with it. So there you have it, 5 things I hate about Blacksburg that I actually really love. No major retailers, chaotic student traffic, distance from big cities, overreacting to winter weather, and the reputation that we're just little old Blacksburg. All these things could be frustrations, but when you look closer, it's exactly what makes Blacksburg, well, Blacksburg. It's a town that protects that small town feel and embraces university culture. We value our natural beauty, take the time to slow down, and proudly stand on its own. And once you've lived here, those hated things start to look a lot more like the reasons you'll never want to leave. So if you're thinking about making a move to Blacksburg, don't let these quirks scare you off. Because honestly, myself, having lived in various places all over the country, these are those things that actually make the place feel like home. So if you're considering a move to Blacksburg or anywhere in the New River Valley, please reach out and introduce yourself. My contact information is on the screen, and I would love to hear how I can best serve you as you consider making a move to this wonderful corner of Southwest Virginia. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.